video games are for nerds. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about them. That's why you're listening to The Week in Gaming, the only gaming podcast that breaks down the last 7 days and tears games apart from the inside. Ugh. So forget your worries, open your ears, and join Simon Miller and a co-host for the entertainment chatter you need. Also, screw Dark Souls.
Hello, world of the internet. My name is Simon Miller, and welcome to The Week in Gaming, a podcast that does take you through the last 7 days in video games and tries to give you as much perspective as possible. If you are interested, all of this is supported by patreon.com/SimonMiller316. And if you could head on over there and even give me $1, it helps the win, because it's my job, this is my life, this is what I do. The more money that goes into the pot, the easier I can do all of this stuff. If you've never listened to before, I am also joined by my man Sam, who is on the other line. Sam, how are you today?
Yeah, doing good, doing good.
You're recovering from all the lovely people that got in touch with you about Fallout?
yeah. No, I've not got any like, you're the worst, but it's the usual, so.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Look, as we were saying before we came on air, I call it on air, it's not really how it works, but we'll go with it. If you like something, that's all that matters. It means that's the best. That is the best thing in the world. But hey, people are crazy. But it's out there. You know, you can go listen to last week's episode if you want to get more of an opinion on Fallout 76. On a quick side note, we're not going to talk about this much, but 2 massive patches apparently are about to come out from Bethesda, which apparently fix a lot of it. Do you know more about that? Do you want to touch on that, or is it just going to sort of tidy things up a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fan feedback, like the stash box is getting significantly increased, and a camp feature is being added to, like, because you used to be able to, like, when you, like, right now when you build, all the stuff, like little shrubs and stuff, still poke through the floor,
right?
Which is a little bit annoying. So they're getting a bulldozer feature in. I assume that there's bug fixes in there as well. You would think, but yeah, it's just content patches for the bulk of it. I think that's what they're really trying to double down on.
Yeah, I think because they went so... Actually, I think them going quiet was actually a good thing, because it probably means they were like, look, don't worry about that now. Let's just fix it. And then when we go live, you know, that's when people care about, right? Like that's and then people stop moaning because we fixed it. The other thing that obviously has come out this week, I mean, it depends on... Some people still won't be able to play it, depending on when you listen to this podcast. But Red Dead Redemption 2 online mode, or Red Dead Online, the beta, we should underline, not the finished game, the beta, is... Well, here's how it goes. If you've got the Ultimate Edition, you could play yesterday as of recording this. If you played Red Dead 2 on the day of release, you can play it now. And if you played within the first, I think it's 48 hours of the launch weekend, you can play tomorrow. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then on Friday, everyone can go nuts for... I don't know how long it lasts, but actually I have no idea, you know. I have absolutely no idea how long it lasts, but... Maybe it lasts forever and then just seamlessly segues into the actual full game. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I have played a little bit of it, and I want to stress a little bit because I wanted to get more time with it yesterday, but I'm an Xbox player with that particular game, and you may have seen there were issues with that, which is fine. It always happens. And I managed to dip my toe in a little bit today. And obviously, Sam, you've heard some stuff as well that we will talk about. And, I mean, you know, without wanting to sound, you know, too simple... It's kind of exactly what you would expect. You know, it is GTA Online, but with a Red Dead setting. Obviously, they've got your Battle Royale. The Battle Royale mode's called Most Wanted, right? That's right, isn't it? That's what it's called.
I think so. I don't know much about the actual content.
Either way, yeah, it's called whatever it's called. There's a Battle Royale mode, and they haven't got around. I mean, that's the big thing I wanted to play, because if you listen to The Week in Gaming, you know that Sam and I are quite fascinated with Battle Royale games, about where they're going to go next. And in many ways, you can argue... You know, the whole remit has been supplied. If you want, Fortnite's there, PUBG is there, and then Call of Duty came along and kind of offered you your AAA version. However, Rockstar do these things very well, or at least they're very smart with how they do them. And yeah, I mean, from what I've played, it's just Red Dead Online, and that sounds ridiculous. It's really hard to, you know, to sell it more than that, or talk with it more than that. There's a posse system that obviously lets you join others as and when you so choose. There's a load of single-player stuff. There's missions. There's the stranger stuff that you get from the main story. They've come across too. You can raid outlaw camps. There's contract killings. You know, it's basically taken everything that you expect in a single player, and they've tried to make it, you know, online. I think that the cool thing is that, yeah, you can do some of it solo, which sounds a bit nuts for a game called Red Dead Online, but I like that. Maybe there's something... Maybe that's just the way you want to play a game. You want more content, or you just want a different approach. I mean, the modes... I don't know if more modes are coming, but the modes that are in this... I haven't played them all of them, but are in this build at the moment are Shootout and Team Shootout. That is obviously Deathmatch and Team Deathmatch. Make It Count which I haven't played, so I'll just read here. A true test of resourcefulness in 2 game modes. Use nothing but a bow and a handful of arrows or throwing knives to be the last one standing. With a gradually shrinking playing area, there's nowhere to run. Right, so that's your Battle Royale mode. I apologise.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it's just bow and that's interesting then. So you can only use your bow and arrow or throwing knives. Ugh, I don't know how I feel about that. What do you think about that? I mean, I thought the whole point of the fun of Battle Royale mode is that, you know, you can find...
It's random weapons. That RNG is what everyone does with Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So it's here we burn out. I don't know. Because obviously I don't know how they handle in-game. Still not played it. So it's hard to know how bad that is. Well, but, I mean, yeah, it might make it a bit fairer.
Well, you're right. That's what I was going to say. It evens the playing field. And obviously, there's only 32 players at the moment in Red Dead Online. That's just, I mean, it could expand, but right now it's just 32 players. I love that people moan about 32 players. There's so many players. But especially when you play something like Fortnite, it goes down to like 60 in about 10 seconds anyway.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that. It was just, I'm going to play that today, and we'll definitely talk about that next week, because I think that could be really interesting. There you go. There is another way to tackle the Battle Royale mode, because now you are taken away with the searching stuff. We've got Most Wanted, which is a tactical race to the top. Every kill pushes up the scoreboard, but watch out. The closer to the top you are, the more points everyone else gets for killing you. Hostile territory, working teams to control the land. You've done that before. And name your weapon. Demonstrate your personal speciality in this free-for-all or team-based match. The trickier the weapon you use to land the killing blow, the more points you get. Now, I played a couple of these. What I do like is I do appreciate the fact that a lot of them are points-based as opposed to kill-based. I mean, that obviously still counts in. But I like it. They add a risk and reward mechanic, Red Dead. And I know a criticism a lot of people are going to be saying to me right now, because I've seen it online and some people have said it to me specifically, is they think everything that it does, the way it operates, the smoothness, just the sheer structure of it all is great, but because the shooting mechanic is, as some people call it, archaic, they can't get into it. I just don't find that with Red Dead. And I know you haven't played it yet, Sam, but I just wanted to make that clear. You know, I don't have an issue with Red Dead shooting. Now, again, I've only played maybe a couple of hours online, and there is a 45-minute or so tutorial. You make your character, and then it explains some things to you. So you can't actually play with people for a while, hence why I haven't got the experience that I wanted to, because of all the Xbox problems yesterday. But so far, I'm all right with it. And, you know, there's a progression system in there. There's a posse system, as we've mentioned. There are going to be microtransactions, but from what I can tell, it's not open yet, I don't think. But I will never look into microtransactions anyway, so it doesn't necessarily affect me either way. So,
what's the format? Do you enter into an open world just like GTA, but the open world of the main game?
Yeah, that's right. It's a big. So you can jump into obviously lobbies like you could before, and specifically go and tackle something should you so wish, or at least I think that's right. Again, I haven't touched it that much, or you just go into. But the way they describe it is a persistent posse of up to 7 players. And you can just roam around Red Dead Redemption 2 as much as you want and do whatever, if you see somebody else and you want to kill them, you can just go and kill them. I think you have to go into a certain area to do that, much like in Destiny or something like that. But yeah, it's just, it's that classic thing. It's in the same way with GTA, you're walking around the city and you think, oh, I'd like to go race some cars. And then you see a car racing place. It's the same with horses, right? You're on your horse and you'll see that, oh, there's a horse race I can go, and you can just go race your horse for a while, which that sounds like hell to me because I hate the stamina in Red Dead Redemption 2, but I hate stamina in any video game. And I think when it comes to abilities, you basically have ability cards, so you can use Deadeye mode or passive abilities that obviously work in the background. And I think that's where the microtransactions come in. Like you can buy them with cash, and that all ties into if you want to go fishing and doing all these little things. Because that's just what some people just want to be cowboys, don't they? They just want to literally walk around that world and go fishing and go to bed at night. And you can now do that in an online persistent world. Should that be what you wish to do? And that's it. That's Red Dead Online. Like again, I'd love to be able to talk more about it, and we certainly will next week. But my initial impressions were, nice, Rockstar, you've made a nice online game that in many ways feels like its own separate entity.
So is it the same deep systems, gun cleaning and all that stuff, but pushed over into online as well?
Say again, sorry?
Is it the same deep systems like they built in single player, like all this gun cleaning and stuff? Has that all been moved over as well?
Yeah, I think so. That all seems to be in there. I mean, it's a classic Rockstar thing, right? They would never put something in a video game and then take it out because they know their players would be like, wait, where did that go? Now, there could be some stuff in there that I haven't come across yet, but as far as I could tell, it was just, again, just a seamless transition with a different structure and a different foundation so that you could enjoy online. And look, I can't criticize Rockstar for doing that. GTA Online makes them a hell of a lot of money. Like, it's still raking it in, and it probably is a huge reason that when you go and look in to see how much money that game has made, it blows your brain. How's any game ever made this much money? And, you know, it sold, 17 million copies in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the hell the number was. This gives it a new lease of life. If you've got any gaming website, everyone's talking about Red Dead Online. We're talking about it right now because it feels like the thing to do so that, you know, we're on top of it. It's going to be the game not only for the rest of the year, but probably early into next year as well. And I imagine the real tail of it will be this mode when the beta ends and they actually sort of stamp their hand down like, right, we can now get to grips with this.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like, that's the thing that's making me want to play Red Dead, because it's sort of like, I feel like I'd get sort of fed up with those systems if it was as slow paced as what I've heard the main story is. But if it was just sort of like muddling around with friends and getting the chance to piss about, like with Fallout, it's the chance, like the base game can be, and with Wildlands as well, the base game you can forgive its faults as long as you're having fun with mates, because that's the thing that makes it all the better, right? Having fun with mates is one of the things that could pump life into a game more than anything else.
Exactly, and I think this is what it is. But again, because Rockstar are just so crazy with it all, they've tried to leave no stone unturned. The real interesting twist being what they do with that that mode. Was it Make It Count? Make It Count. Yeah. That's an interest. I mean, that's what I find fascinating the most, because if anybody said to me, you know, name somebody that you totally believe could do a great job, pick a developer to make a battle royale mode, I go, well, I'd like to see what Rockstar could do. I'd just be intrigued to see, you know, what they could wrangle up. So that to me is the most interesting thing. Otherwise, you know, there's loads of stuff you can do as well. Like, you can do stuff with livestock. You know, you could just go out there and skin some livestock for a while. Should you see? You know, there's no. If that's what you want to do, you want to go hunt animals, you want to do it with your mates, you can. If you want to ride horses, you can. You want to have a fight, you can. You want to set up a little community, you can. Like, do you know what I mean? That's the point. It's just you do this weird stuff, and you just be a cowboy online. It's strange. It's very, very, very odd.
Have you noticed how nobody calls Battle Royale Battle Royale? Nobody calls it the same thing. Like Fortnite did, but then Blackout, and then Battlefield had their own version, and this, Make It Count. Just call a spade a spade. We all know it's Battle Royale. Just call it Battle Royale.
I know.
I don't understand.
It's strange, isn't it? Because it's not like no one traces it back to it anyway. It's
like
obvious.
Fortnite's going to be like copywriting you because they don't own it either.
Yeah. So. If anything, the book will come and get you. That's what will screw you over. Is a book that whenever the hell that came out. I don't know. It's the classic. Because it's that classic thing in video games where it's almost seemed a negative to copy a good idea, but it's not. Yeah. Like you've got. I mean, how many modes did I read out there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 5 sort of specific modes, and but there are loads more than that in terms of what you can do. And you could probably play this game for the rest of all of 2019 online, and never see everything that they have to do. So no one's going to claim, oh, they weren't very inventive, they weren't very creative. No, you took something that was popular and you've given it your own spin.
Yeah, it's wise, surely. Good business.
Well, you'd think so, but no. So we've got Fortnite, we've got PUBG. We've got Blackout. We've got Make It Count. What is Battlefield's called? It's
I don't know.
Firestorm. It is dumb. Just have it. Everyone calls. Actually, to be fair though, they couldn't even call it Team Deathmatch. It's called Team Shootout. That may be
that's good though. I quite like that one.
Yeah, that may be different because Deathmatch does have death. I guess in anything is a bit. I can understand why they've done that. Although who cares? My point being is, if I can't imagine anyone being disappointed. I mean, I can understand people being a bit like, well, the beta's not everything that it needs to be, but no, it's a beta. That's the whole point. They're trying to, they're trying to make it work. But I can't imagine anyone being upset with this. It's just cool. I've only played it with a couple of mates, but it's just cool to roam around on the back of horses, looking like cowboys, walking past sunsets, finding churches, stumbling across cool things in the world that you may not have seen otherwise, while having a social experience at the same time. That's it. That's why people play this video game.
Yeah, exactly.
The other game that came out this week was Darksiders 3.
Yes.
Now, admittedly, Sam and I have not played Darksiders 3.
Nor have I played any of the others.
No, I played Darksiders 2. I thought Darksiders 2 was a good idea that just... THQ was too ambitious with it. They wanted it to be their Call of Duty. They wanted it to be their huge game. And it didn't have the... it didn't have the skill or the talent to live up to that. So I think it was pitched badly, and I think it was marketed badly, but I do think it was a fun game. I think the original Darksiders was quite good. But from everything I've read, I'm not going to be playing Darksiders. It just sounds like... Obviously, Darksiders 2 came out, what, 5, 6, 7, maybe even more years ago, a long time ago. And a lot has happened in games since then. And it almost seems like everybody involved tried to... Well, they basically wanted to make it like Zelda... Well, no, let me rephrase that. They wanted to make it Zelda before and did a decent job. Now they feel like Dark Souls is the way to go and have not done a decent job, because it is a very harder, a harder thing to do. And everything I've read as well said, I mean, some quotes, Darksiders 3 is a mess. The game is a nightmare to play through. The best one was, with an unlikable protagonist and a chugging frame rate. I mean, if that isn't enough to turn you off, and that's the real thing on top, apparently the amount of bugs in it almost make it unplayable. Again, I don't know if that's true. This is all secondhand information as far as I'm concerned. But as we said before, I don't like a video game to come out and us not to talk about it. You can go, well, why are you even talking about it? Well, we're just passing opinion on news that is circulating on the internet. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And the real killer world is that people say it's boring, and that will always be the death for any game, especially when you are comparing it to the first and the second game. That I haven't seen one person said that this is better than those two. And that it's almost like, to me, they probably... It's the way I haven't played it, but the way I see it is there's nothing wrong with a good hack and slash game. People like good hack and slash games, and yet there's almost like a pretense or an opinion in modern gaming that that's not complicated enough, so we must do this and we must do that. I don't agree. Put me in, Greek mythology or the Four Horsemen atmosphere, whatever you want to call those, and then just let me walk away and have a big sword and smash the crap out of people. That's all right. I got no problems with it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Dark Souls. It doesn't have to overcomplicate things. It seems like a game that would have been suitable. Like even the original Dark Souls would have been suitable on the PS2, because it did seem like an era when things were simpler, and it is just sort of a basic hack and slash. No offense intended, but it is a basic hack and slash from what I could gather. And it seems bizarre that after all these years that would be the series to get a sequel. Because I've never heard anyone be like, the first two were amazing. Everyone always like, oh yeah, Dark Souls was alright. Yeah, Dark Souls was fun. Nobody's ever like, yes, when is Dark Souls coming back? But it's bizarre. It's obviously like because of the bugs and stuff, like you say. But yeah, it's just a shame that maybe a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't like the hack and slash. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I really don't get it. And there are plenty of positive reviews out there as well. I don't want to sound like I'm... but I'm just focusing on the bad ones to start with. But other people have said it's nice to have it back. I try and go to, when I'm looking for information about this, I try and go to sites that I know, well, that I've heard of, basically. That sounds terrible, but, a lot of nonsense does get out there. And there are, I'm not going to name drop anything, but there are sites out there that say it's fine and it's good. But they also mention the technical issues, and I think maybe that's what's dragging. I mean, because if you're not getting on with a video game and it has technical issues, then yeah, that's just going to be the death knell, isn't it? You can't get past that.
Yeah, and it depends on the technical issues as well, like if there's game breaking, progress being lost and stuff. But yeah, it's a shame because like I don't have any ill will toward Darksiders, so it's just a shame. I was all up for that being good,
I think that's the thing for me. I kind of wanted this to be good so I could get involved and play it. Because I like the concept of Darksiders, as you said. I just don't think that we need to... It just didn't need to overcomplicate it, and it certainly sounded like we did. And that does suck. But look, we'll see. I do want to get it. I do want to play it in with the bad reviews, because I like talking about it and stuff like this. So I'll try and source a copy this week, or buy one, basically. I don't source it. I buy my games these days. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But, yeah, I will play it, and I'll let you know what I think. For me, it's just a disappointing... It's a shame, isn't it? Because I would rather... Especially at this time of year. I mean, to come out the same day as Red Dead Online launches as well. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no one could have predicted that. Like, just the worst luck, really.
Well, see, I find it crazy that Just Cause 4 comes out a week tomorrow. Sorry, a week yesterday as well. The 4th it comes out. Now, look, I know Just Cause has a
crazy. Oh my god! Yeah, I didn't realise that.
I know, and it has a really strong fan base, right? Like a really strong fan base. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I saw an advert for it today. I was like, wow. I mean, that is brave. That really, really is brave. Anyway, they're the games that came out this week. So obviously Red Dead 2 Online and Darksiders 3. And look, man, if you're listening to this and you're getting mad at me, not really Sam, that was me that took control of that situation. Sam was very fair. And you're mad at me for what I said about Darksiders, get in touch. Drop a line in the YouTube comments. Send me a tweet, whatever. and we'll talk about it. Maybe we can even do a special Darksiders episode and we'll get you on and Sam and I will grill you about it. But, we're all...
about games we know nothing about.
Exactly. But we're always, we're always up to hear that stuff back. And I think both of us are quite self-aware, quite, we know what's going down. But that's what's out. Darksiders out. Maybe you're playing it, maybe you're loving it. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you tried Red Dead and you hated that, and Darksiders 3 has absolutely changed your life. In terms of sort of bits of news that have dropped this week, I mean, this is the most interesting one, and I imagine where we'll lay our head in the sand for a while. Rumours have popped back up about Superman World's Finest, which I will again say is the worst title for a video game in history, and we cannot call it that if it's true. Now, these came out a couple of years ago before an E3 or a Gamescom on, I think it was on 4chan. Anything that was on 4chan is death. However, the fact that name has come up again, and there are rumours that it is a Rocksteady game, and there was some information went live on Game System Requirements, which, as you can imagine, is a website that tells you about games and their system requirements, and it was that name again. So people were all of a sudden like, well, that's interesting, it's come back. The rumours before was that, again, Rocksteady's new game, you're going to play as Superman, Batman, Robin, an open world. I mean, the only reason I question it is because if you had multiple DC characters, why the hell would you call it Superman World's Finest? I think even in movies, Batman has proved that right now he's probably on top of Superman in being a draw. So why would you call it Superman? It just seems crazy to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just not everything needs a subtitle either. Just World's Finest is so generic. But yeah. I don't know why else I call it, because I don't even like Man of Steel. Man of Steel was alright, but yeah, it's just Superman. The name just puts me off.
Well, I think it puts a lot. I think Batman, and I don't want to get into an argument about comic book characters here. I'm not trying to wind anybody up. And yes, I am a Batman fan, but I do think in the world of entertainment, Batman is considered cooler than Superman at the moment.
Yeah, I think so, because he's got more successful media. He's got more trust. It's like Superman's a bit like Sonic. He's not had a lot of good products around him, and so if you see one, you're not exactly spooked by it good. Whereas I think Batman, you would, like, if you didn't know most of it, and then a new Batman game come along, you'd be like, oh, Batman. Yeah, you know what I mean. So.
Yeah, and also Superman in the gaming world is untouched. I actually think the last game Superman gave me was the EA one, right? When the city had a life bar.
Yes, because they did one on the Xbox 360, which is based on the film.
Did they?
Yeah, I think Superman Returns, that old, 2006 or whatever.
Hang on, I'm getting it up. List of Superman video games. We could be talking about the same one for all I know. We're not talking about Injustice. I'm not talking about the Lego movies. They do not count. They get thrown right out.
Superman Returns.
That was it. That was the game I was thinking of. When was that? Do you have 2006?
2006.
Oh my gosh, right. So it's been 12 years, I think we can say. I'm not including the other ones. 12 years since we've had a Superman game. That one was universally panned because, yes, it had a dumb idea where your life bar was related to the city you were trying to keep in, which takes the idea of role-playing in video games and kills them anyway, because why does it always have to be a challenge? Do you know what I mean? Why can't at some points we go, you're flipping Superman for 90% of this game, you're going to be okay. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you'll be fine. That's a big bugbear I have with video games. We sometimes fall into this, this tradition when there's no need to do it. But with that aside, I don't get as excited. If you're making a DC game, cool. You've proven with the Batman and the Arkhamverse that you know exactly what you're doing. You've obviously got a lot of great people on board that know about these comics. And if you want to work Superman into that, that's fantastic. But why you would spin it as Superman... Also, the title is terrible. Superman, World's Finest. World's Finest what? I can't believe that's got to be a working title. But look, I am intrigued is my point. And, I mean, if nothing else, Sam, the Arkham Knight came out in 2014. Is that right? I think that's right. It must be. So that's 4 years since we've had a game from them. I mean, what do you think they're doing, if nothing else?
Yeah, it's just any time Superman comes up in the gaming world, I'm just like, how? How are they going to do this? Because I just don't know. I just don't know. And
if you do, that's the other problem as well. If you do put in Superman and Batman's there as well, and you've got all that badass gameplay from before that we've seen from the Arkham games, I worry that Superman becomes a problem. And I'm saying it gets in the way, but everyone may start going, why can't we just have another Batman game? I just think it's weird. For a company that was so successful as Rocksteady have been, I mean, they've literally... So it came out June 2015, so we're coming up for 4 years next year. Look, they don't have to do anything. They can vanish, but it is very rare for a company that has some real success to just vanish behind the curtain for no reason.
Yeah, and it's... I hope if Superman comes around again, I hope it's totally separate from the film universe, because I don't want it to be a part of that DC universe.
Well, I mean, the DC universe is in a whole pile of trouble as well now, right? I mean, they're basically resetting everything. Aquaman comes out soon, though.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one.
Are you actually?
I can't believe Aquaman could be any good, so I'm sort of interested as to whether it will be, because he is the running joke, right? Nobody likes Aquaman.
Exactly.
So the fact that they must have something special if they're going to make a film about him. You wouldn't get a joke and be like, yeah, let's make a good film about him unless you had some good ideas.
That's true. Well, it comes out 2 weeks on Friday, I think. And I just did a quick Google search, as we want to do here. And there are some reactions to Aquaman here. And I'll just read some to you. We'll pump people up. We don't mind talking about movies on this. Aquaman is a big, fun, wild ride. Aquaman is pretty wild. It leads hard into its 18s fantasy adventure movie vibe, more than superhero elements. Short and sweet reaction to Aquaman is that I loved it, and Aquaman is over the top fun. Now, let's not be silly. There's probably a reason why that selection of tweets was allowed to be released 2 weeks before a film comes out. I think we have to be smart with this. But with that said, maybe that will be the turning point for the DC movies. I mean, how many DC movies have you seen? Have you seen them all, or just some?
Yeah, the new DC ones. Trying to think what I have seen.
So it's basically, you've got Man of Steel that you've seen. That's decent. Wonder Woman was pretty good. Obviously, Batman vs Superman is a joke. Justin League.
Oh, Batman vs Superman, yeah.
Justice League is a joke.
Now I remember it exists, and I'm sad again.
Justice League is a joke, and obviously Suicide Squad. While I enjoyed it, it was not a good movie. I enjoyed it for all the wrong reasons. So that's a pretty bad that's a pretty bad run. Imagine if Aquaman is the one to turn it. Well, actually, Wonder Woman was good. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Wonder Woman was great. I really like Wonder Woman.
No, I thought it was awesome. I really, really liked it, and we'll see. Maybe one of the first big news we get in 2019 is what Rocksteady's up to. But you can go look it up right now. There's some obvious fake images if you want to pretend they're real. They're out there as well. I should have said as well, actually, when we talk about stuff that had come out, obviously the PlayStation Classic came out this week as well.
Yes. Very, very exciting, maybe.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have called it bang average, and even actually said some of the games run poorly, which, I mean, to have performance issues from games from 25 years ago. See, I think the problem is they all run in PAL, right? That's
no, I think there's a mixture.
Oh, there's a mixture, right? Okay, so that's probably where the issues are coming from. Why the hell is there a mixture? What's that about?
I don't know. It might be licensing rights or something. I don't know why. Because you would have assumed they'd had the manpower and the strength to be like, no, we're doing whatever we want, how we want it on this console. But it's weird to have a mixture. Very odd.
Are you going to get one? Do you have any interest?
Absolutely not. I've got my PlayStation Classic, and I don't need all these filler games that they bolt it out with. So.
No, I'm not interested at all. I mean, the fact that it apparently runs badly, and everyone. I haven't. When the SNES and the NES Mini came out, I saw loads of people, proper having a nostalgic vibe and saying it's so much fun to use, and there's just something magic about it. You feel like a kid again. I haven't seen that at all with this. In fact, I didn't even realize it had come out until I sat down to do some research.
Yeah, I think the best time for the PlayStation Classic is when it was announced, because nobody thought deeply about it, because it was just, oh yeah, I love the PlayStation. But then when people thought these games just don't age well. We've talked about this before, but I heard someone play Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six. I was about to say some sort of addendum, but yeah, just the Rainbow Six, and it just doesn't hold up because FPSs from 20 years ago don't hold up unless it's on PC. And yeah, it's just. It's unsurprising that a lot of people said it was bang average, because a lot of those games are bang average, and even the games that weren't bang average don't hold up well.
Especially because going back, I mean, if you don't know the reason why it sucks their PAL, Battle Arena, Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Grand Theft Auto, Jumping Flash, Tekken 3 and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six all run. They're the PAL versions. And, of course, the problem with that is that they run at 50 hertz. It's something that UK people used to moan about all the time. It's like, oh, why do we get slower versions of video games? Well, most console systems today run at 60 hertz. Because HD TVs came along and that changed the world. So now if you go back to them, you are going to feel they feel incredibly slow. They just are. Even though you may be used to them, because that's how we used to play them if you're, if you were born in the UK. That's not really what you want. I know it's not really expensive, but it's not cheap either. And I mean, the fact that one of the headlines I saw said Tekken 3 runs at 83.8% of its intended speed. I mean, that's just, again, those things, are they massively an issue? You can argue it, but if you're buying a classic system, I'm not saying you have to update and upgrade all the titles, but I think you at least want them running at their optimum format.
Yeah, you definitely do, and it's just bizarre to not have them like that. Just very strange.
I mean, I don't see any reason why they've done that either. Like you said, it's probably a licensing issue or something like that. But hey, it's out there. Again, if you want to know, we've met the ones we've mentioned, along with Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy VII, Intelligent Cube, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld, Apes, Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations, Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Twisted Metal, Wild Arms. That's your PlayStation Classic. And you know what? I actually can't remember how much it costs. Do you remember how much it costs?
It's $99
$99. Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon right now for $89.99, and it comes out. I said the reviews have come out, but it actually comes out on Monday. If you should, so watch one. I have decided to pass, Sam, and I'm going to guess that you're going to.
Yeah, I decided to pass as well. I could play Spyro and Crash, and that's all I need.
How is
Croc? Let's not forget Croc.
How is Spyro going? Are we still loving Spyro?
Yeah, Spyro's good. Not played on the PS1, obviously, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's a slow progress.
Going back to the Battle Royale conversation as well, Fortnite came out and said that now 200 million people have at least signed up for it. And they say playing, but, take that with a pinch of salt.
That is crazy.
And that this number is still increasing. I mean, it really is crazy. Like, I remember when PUBG first came out. I remember when DayZ first came out, because that's kind of where this trend started, right? With DayZ, and then it, evolved into PUBG, and now obviously Fortnite, and obviously the Rockstar thing we were talking about earlier. But those, I can't even, apart from something like World of Warcraft, I can't even think of a game that has comparable numbers. I'm sure I'm wrong, but on the top of my head, I don't know what that would be.
It is mad, isn't it? Like, if you think 200 million is 1/5 of a billion, right? And there are only 7.5 billion people in the world. That is a mad amount of people in the world playing Fortnite, or signed up for Fortnite.
Especially when you think that it's a free-to-play model and they're still making a ton of money.
Yeah.
Which is why I find it incredibly crazy that obviously we've seen, or you may have seen, that there's a lot of controversy again because Call of Duty and microtransactions and people arguing about that, and EA did it as well with Battlefield, blah, blah, blah. I saw that there. I don't think we need to talk about it. It's all the same old stuff. And yet they're Epic Games, who are a AAA developer. They're responsible for Gears of War and Unreal Tournament and other video games that have certainly crossed into the mainstream. And yet they're able to take this free-to-play microtransaction model and not only make it work, but aside from the ridiculous stories that I see about Fortnite, like, it's killing kids or...
it's directly killing kids.
Yeah, anything like that, which is just, tabloid. My point is, from a video game point of view, nobody complains about it. No one calls it exploitative. No one says that, that the system is broken or that it's played to win. And I find that to have that much success and not show any signs of slowing down. I mean, I don't know anyone that hasn't at least tried it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has wanted to give it a go. And that is not the same for PUBG by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it's not. It's like a cultural phenomenon, not even a game phenomenon. Because usually, sometimes you get games that are really popular. But I asked my friend who's not a gamer, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what it is," or "I might have heard of it once." But everyone knows Fortnite. Your grandma's probably know Fortnite. Everyone knows Fortnite because it's just famous around the world, especially with kids, obviously. It's just crazy. It is madness. Imagine being Epic, because I don't think they prepared for this. Nobody could have prepared for this. Just being like, what do we do? They've handled it very well. Because if I was responsible for a game with 200 million players, I don't know how I'd handle that. But they've handled it very well, and they're still going. They're still pumping out stuff by the boatload, and they've got esports, and they've got so much going on.
Well, I think the real key is they're not slowing down, are they? It's not like we haven't seen... Everyone else goes, the bubble will burst, the bubble will burst. You know what? Maybe it will. Or maybe it's going to be more like a Call of Duty type of thing, where it just manages to keep on finding ways to make it interested.
Yeah, and can you imagine the statistics? Because I bet on average a player spends £10 on average. Obviously, some spend more, some spend less. But say if every player spends £10 just at all during their Fortnite careers, that is 200 million times £10.
Yeah.
That is, these are just crazy numbers when you think about it.
It really is. And again, the way they've managed to go on about, they could have charged a premium for this. They could have put it out there as 30 quid or on mobile at 8 quid, 10 quid, whatever you do. They could have done that and they probably still would have been successful. I think people would have bought into the narrative and the presentation, the aesthetic, and people love Battle Royale modes anyway, and they did offer something different, especially with the building mechanic. I still think it would have taken off, but it would never have taken it off like this. So to take that risk about, just throwing away that, 30, 40, 50 pound price point and rely on free to play. They really should. It almost seems unfair. I know a lot of people do throw them plaudits, but because they get bogged down in all the other nonsense, it almost seems unfair they don't get the they deserve a good shout out, don't they? Really, they've done it. They've absolutely smashed it. They have owned this no end.
Yeah, absolutely. I know people complain about it, but it's just 'cause it's popular, right? I don't think there's any like malice or anything in it. Like you say, it's just yeah, they smashed it. There's not much else to say. No, they really did smash it.
They have. So 200 million people. You didn't hear that wrong. I didn't say 200,000. I said 200 million. Bizarre stat, but one I always find interesting, that Super Mario Odyssey sold 500,000 copies in the UK. The only reason I like to bring that up is because, a lot of people think Mario is this, Mario is an icon, and I think overall that game has sold about 12 million copies, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. I think that's correct. But he's not, 12 million is a lot. And obviously, I'm only talking about physical copies here, but I don't think the Nintendo Switch is going to have massive digital downloads. I'm going to talk about that in 1 second. And again, they're over 10 million sales. It's a big video game. But it's the same. Breath of the Wild was a bit different to this, but they're not. Obviously, that sounds stupid. People go, of course they sell a lot of copies. They do, but they're not crazy. Do you know what I mean?
They're not the colossal numbers.
Exactly, that's what I mean. And most people, not necessarily Zelda, but with Mario, because he's Mario and because he's been around for so long and he is the poster boy of all the video games, I get it. Loads of people always think he's going to have crazy numbers, but he's not. We just talked about 200 million people. Call of Duty this year, I don't know what it sold, but it will beat that, because it just will. It's Call of Duty. And I always find it interesting when those numbers come out because, it does almost have... The stigma around Mario actually negates what the reality of it almost. It's cool, it's interesting, and look, it's still done well. Nintendo aren't going to stop making Mario games, but I imagine
I'm surprised to see it that low. I would have thought it'd be several millions in the UK alone.
Well, that's what I mean, right? That's what I would have thought as well. But when it comes out, you're like, actually, it's a worldwide phenomenon, and it will always do well. What was the last game before Odyssey? I can't even remember. What
Sunshine? No.
Well, dude, no, you just jump back.
Galaxy 2? It can't be. No, he's had a lot of in the Wii U, but I don't know if he had a main title, you know what I mean?
Well, Galaxy 2 sold... Well, apparently, Galaxy 2 only sold 6.36 million copies. If that's the case, but I guess it would do because, the Switch has become a runaway sensation anyway. My point being, that just kind of goes to show, right? It goes to show that it's an odd fascination of mine, especially with Zelda. I don't count Breath of the Wild into that because I know Breath of the Wild really caught fire. But before Breath of the Wild... Zelda was, I'm not going to say it's a niche selling title, it still sold millions, but it certainly wasn't, it was not selling, given what let me rephrase that, given how some people within video games see it, it didn't have that kind of traction outside of the bubble that it was in. It just didn't.
No.
Anyway, so that's Super Mario. Battlefield 5 also came out, which you talked about. Yes. Now, this is an interesting conversation. It does tie into everything we were just talking about. The big story that everyone wanted to run is the same story we have basically seen every week this year when a new video game comes out. And that is that Battlefield 5 has come out and it has shifted less physical copies than Battlefield 1. The key there is physical copies. Now, at some point, I think you have to take a step back and go, and this is it, we're here. The digital age is finally catching up with us. People are getting better broadband in their house, Wi-Fi, they're quicker, the ease of use, bigger storage spaces. I don't know if it's going to outsell Battlefield 1 overall, but I am confident in saying at this point, digital figures certainly need to start being shouted about just as much, if not so, than physical copies. I think Battlefield 5 has died on its arse. I think it's probably done quite well, maybe not as well as Battlefield 1, but I would bet you, if you compare digital sales, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I don't really know how to gauge it because the controversy has died down, but I don't know where people stand on Battlefield 5 now, just in popular opinion.
And what, do people not like it?
Well, people didn't like it, but then I didn't really hear much about it after the initial, all that controversy. So, yeah, I don't know where people stand on it now. I haven't heard much about it just in general. It seems to just have been released and be like, okay, cool.
I think that's been a problem for a lot of games this year. I would say, we'll segue into this because you've been playing it online. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 kind of did the same to me. I felt like there was a lot of excitement around it for a weekend. It went away. Forza Horizon 4 did the same. Even Pokemon Let's Go, which sold loads of copies. I haven't seen people going crazy about it. Obviously, Fallout 76 had its issues, so I can't really focus on that one. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the caveat, is the change up to all of that. It's certainly that has made its mark, but, I guess they've been very smart with how they've rolled out content, how they've rolled out information. But you've been playing Black Ops 4 online. Just to segue from Battlefield into that, is it just to play with friends? Do you just want to see how it was going? Do you actually like its setup? What was the reason?
Well, I actually got quite bored of Blackout because me and my friend, it's not like it's a bad game or anything. It's just me and my friend are finding it quite like slow to get good.
Yeah.
And obviously it's like, it sounds quite childish to be like, I'm not playing this anymore, but it's like we weren't enjoying it that much. So the progress is very slow, trying to force ourselves to dip back in. But because like we knew Call of Duty of old, getting back into multiplayer was just a quick thing to understand.
Yeah.
But the matchmaking aggravates me, and it makes me feel so old because like everyone's walking around doing quick scopes with diamond snipers, which requires you to get gold on all guns, and the game's been out like a month. And like, there's so many diamond guns, and there's so many people that are just like clearly like 16 and much better than me. And the matchmaking just seems to put us against them all the time. I don't know whether the majority of the Call of Duty community are that guy.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just, I just want to play people who are just newbies and having casual fun. But I don't think people play Call of Duty for casual fun, you know what I mean?
I like the fact that there could be like this mode that's basically called like old man mode. If you're not like a 15-year-old with super quick reactions, just I would play that mode. Sam, I would play the shit out of that mode.
Yeah, I would play that.
They should release that mode right now. In fact, it's ridiculous that they haven't. The other thing as well, I tell you, man, talk about being trapped in a bubble world. I can't remember who the hell it was now, and I told myself don't forget, which of course means I've gone and forgotten. I saw a few people, because this is how, outside of the bubble, this is how people operate, went to buy Call of Duty Black Ops 4 over the last couple of weeks and were mystified that it didn't have an offline mode. They didn't know a single player mode. They didn't know. They had no idea because they just buy one game a year. They don't read the news. They don't watch the trailers. They're not caught up in the world. They just assume it's going to be there because why wouldn't they? Right? What if you're not into that and you just want to buy a game once a year to shoot the shit out of people? You're not going to ponder whether they've changed it or not. And I find that fascinating, how easy it is to get lost in this crazy thing known as video games.
Yeah, when you dive into this culture, you forget that not everyone's into every game release and doing everything. And some people are there for just Call of Duty. And the fact that it's just sort of skip them by, they don't know a campaign, that is hilarious and also a bit like, how? How have you not?
I guess they just have a PlayStation. It just sits under their TV. November comes around and they assume, a new Call of Duty must be out. I'll go and buy it because I know a lot of people that don't even know that, and why would they? They don't even know that they're made by different people. I don't even think they know who makes them. They just assume, well, it's just a video game. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I just assume the same company makes it year on, year out. And
that is very interesting. That's very interesting.
It is. I saw one, and I was like, okay, that's one. But then I saw a couple more, and I was like, I tell you, man, sometimes it's so easy to get lost in, like I say, lost in the world that we create for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we live and breathe this stuff, and we go out of our way to read, and if we don't, we're so entrenched in it that it will just hit us anyway. And yet there are people out there who I guess are feeling absolutely screwed simply because there's no information. They wouldn't know. They haven't even thought to look it up. And a lot of people then went and took that game back. So maybe single player's not as dead as we first thought. Some homegrown news as well. This has excited me because hopefully somebody will offer me a job. EGX is coming back to London in 2019. They're moving it to October, which is a month later or a few weeks later when they usually do it. That kind of sucks if you live in Birmingham or you're up north because now you've got to come down further. I like it because I live close to London and therefore if I work it this year, it makes my life a lot easier. It's the most selfish thing I'll ever say in my life.
Yeah, I'm a London person too, so I'm all like, yeah. But I could see why if you live near Birmingham, you would be very pissed.
Birmingham is more fair, although I think Eurogamer or the EGX, we want to call it, are going to put on some kind of transport for people that live up near Birmingham or something. I don't know. I don't want to.
That'd be cool.
I don't want to speak out of turn. Do we know why they're moving it? I had a look. I
assume it's because of London.
But why did they move it to begin with?
No idea.
The only problem is they are doing it at the Excel. And getting to the Excel is... I did an event there the other week. That was where the 3 event was. It was hard. It's hard to get... Unless you live there, it is I mean, this is the most first world problem ever. But hey, look, if you like gaming expos and you live in London, EGX coming back October 2019. That's that. That's all I've got. Hilarious as well. There's a new World War II shooter coming out. We're back, Sam. I meant to put this on the list. I didn't do it. We've actually done full circle. And much like we were 20 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We actually have now people...
I think about 10 years ago.
10 years ago, whenever it was. But yeah, there's a World War II shooter coming out from a studio called Bulkhead Interactive. I don't know who they are. I'm not going to... Oh, no, sorry, that was...
Those are the guy that did Battalion.
Sorry, I misread my article. That's Battalion 1944, so I had this open from earlier.
Battalion doing another one?
Sorry, no. There's a game called Hell Let Loose.
Yes.
It's being published by Team 17. And yeah, it's a World War II shooter. But I love the fact that basically it's a World War II shooter in association with the people that made Worms. That excites me. I mean, but I'm not totally against it. I like World War II shooters. And why should Call of Duty and Battlefield have all the love with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I love World War II shooters like just like the old Call of Duties, and Call of Duty World War II was good. So any more that's good, and Brothers in Arms was also great. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it, because I mean we've seen the typical stories, so it'd be interesting to see if it's any sort of twist.
What's your favourite World War II shooting game?
Brothers in Arms: Hell's Highway.
Is it really? I've never played that, so I can't comment on it too much. But why so?
Really good. I went to put it into my Xbox the other day, and it's not backwards compatible, and I don't have an Xbox 360 anymore. So.
That's Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
Damn Ubisoft. I got the most stand. Mine is Medal of Honor Frontline. I don't think it's actually the best one, but it's that classic thing that when I played it, and I'd never really played a World War II shooting game before, and the way it looked, and obviously the storming of Normandy Beach, so on and so forth, just absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I don't think we'll ever get that again, really.
No, I think the golden age of those has just passed us by.
It has done. It's weird for a man that loves World War II shooters, and I'm not really playing them anymore. At one point, I would have bitten off your arm for that. Hey-ho, never mind. What are you going to do? It's not the end of the world. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the week in gaming, Sam. Anything else you want to throw in there?
No. I mean, we're queuing up to December, which is actually... Because I looked at December, people think it's going to be a quiet month, but it's not a quiet month. You've got the Game Awards, you've got Smash Brothers, you've got Just Cause. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot going on in December. It's going to pick up again.
Absolutely. And obviously, when we get to the... towards the end of the year, we'll do our best of and do our worst of, all those classic things.
Hell yeah, I've got a list. So
yeah, me too. I have to go through and make mine sorted. But as Sam said, there's some Persona games coming out in December as well. So and the Earth Defense Force, and I know a lot of people like Earth Defense Force, but I think we basically wrap up for the year around about sort of second-ish week of December, which leaves us lovely 2 episodes to our best and worst of the year. So you can look forward to that, and of course keep an eye out on our social channels, and we'll make sure we get your information into all your games and your most hated games into that list as well. Right, that's it. That's the week in gaming. You're now all caught up. You know everything that happened over the last 7 days. You can come talk to Sam or I on Twitter. Sam is at Sam Bishop with 3 P's and a 1. I think that's correct. I always say it and go, I think that's right. I have absolutely no idea. I'm at Simon316, also that on Instagram. You can also listen to the Week in Gaming over on YouTube, youtube.com/The Miller Report rules, should you so wish. Again, all supported by patreon.com/Simon Miller 316. What are you going to play this week, Sam? Any new things on the horizon, or are you just going to stick to the old ones?
It's just Fallout. It's literally just Fallout.
You love it. Yeah, I like the fact you love it. A lot of people said, oh, I don't get it. But no, man, we found it. Actually, and other people liked him as well. But
yeah, I found a lot of people just like who's hit me up on Instagram. Like, oh, you like it? Let's play together. So it seems to be there is a community out there. It's just maybe one side of the community is a bit more vocal than others. So yeah, if you love it, hit me up. Let's play.
Yeah, do it. Look, you can wave the flag for Fallout 76 because look, nobody else is. Nobody else is waving that flag, and maybe they should. Right, Sam. As always, thank you very much for your time.
It's always my pleasure.
Awesome. And we'll be back. We'll be back next week. We'll do the Week in Gaming. Obviously, check out the wrestling podcast. Just have fun. Go and play games. Don't worry about it too much. And we will all talk to you again very soon.